carbs should I eat? I don't know.
Wait for it. All right. Excellent. We are live. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today, or hopefully maybe in the future if you might not be catching this live. But I'm ecstatic. I was able to peel these 5 gentlemen away from their daily duties for about an hour just to really discuss some of the things that are very near and dear to us here at dotFIT with what makes them so successful. So I'm super excited, but we have Greg DiNatale representing the Edge Fitness Clubs out in the Northeast. And it's funny because, you know, Greg and I both from Connecticut, and we pretty much got our Apex certification right about the same time. Although, Greg, I think you were nutritionalist, weren't you?
No, I came in, I was at the same school, I think, the first Apex school in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Okay. So you were right before me though, but we were about the same time. But Greg's been with the Edge Fitness Clubs really since the very, very beginning, even before it was the Edge Fitness Clubs with the Sansones. Over here in our far right-hand corner, we have Jeff Carlson, been a Apex dotFIT just junkie forever. One of our strongest organizations. Between yourself, and I do have to throw out there, obviously, Chancey was always such a big part too, but Jeff leading that ship with Muv Fitness up in the Northwest. We so greatly appreciate you. I'm going to move down to my lower left-hand side. The guy I'm just deathly jealous of the hair. I just wish I had this, but Harry Rio, Harry being the COO now of Trufit, another just super strong organization, probably one of our newest organizations actually that's just picked up the ball and just jumped right up here with these other folks that are on here. And then right down here below me again, joining the Shaved Bald Head Club, we have Josh Wheeler, who actually has been involved with us and Neil Spruce since I think he was, 17 years old, probably lying to be able to work legally in the health club business. So he's been with us a whopping 6 years. So now he's only 25. Boom. So Josh, CEO of Texas Family Fitness, always super excited. Josh has grown within the industry and always brought us along with him wherever he's gone. And then down here in our bottom right, last but definitely not least, Derek Gallup representing UFC Gym. We have a tremendous background, especially in Derek shares with a few of our other speakers as well, stemming from 24-hour fitness and just the explosion of how 24-hour fitness and Apex had really joined forces back in the 90s and early 2000s, and now again doing the same thing with UFC Gym. And he's obviously worked with Crunch before and the Steve Nash group up in Canada, and dotFIT always been along with the ride. So everybody, I really appreciate your time today. We all talked about off camera. I've got 5 questions that I really want to ask these guys and get their input, but they have full autonomy to be able to express anything they'd like. But if you guys don't mind, I really wanted to just open it up to all of you, and we can kind of take turns a little bit back and forth for anything you want to add. But I wanted to start with the first question. My first question is, why did you decide to bring dotFIT into your organization? And I mean that in a sense of it can go a lot of different ways, if you know what I mean, without giving away too much. But gentlemen, does anybody want to start?
Yeah,
sure, I'm the rookie. So, I'll go first because also I'm gonna, then I'm gonna get nervous that you guys said all the good stuff, right?
You got the longest hair too, Harry.
I'm just gonna.
I got the longest hair from constantly and always faithfully taking my active multivitamin twice a day. I've recommended it to Rob regularly, but is what it is. So jokes aside, I also have this COVID beard or quarantine beard or whatever the heck. That's a new thing too, Derek. So I'm not fitting that clean cut image that Gallup would hold me to. But maybe one day I'll have half of the abs he has. So, hey, for me, it goes back to the history of relationships first on the way of folks that is predictable and trust and people you can trust. So when you think about the founder and Neil Spruce and all the partners that are a piece of that in my history, I'd say for us, it really is founded first there. Not only trust in product, anybody can make a product, but not everyone can have a relationship. You can trust and feel that they've got the best interests, not only of their company's success, but of ours. And so I think that part for me, Rob's been a big part of the decision. And then add to it the passion for every piece of a full cycle answer, as opposed to another pro shop or wholesaler of some goods, but something that can really provide a platform coming from where we were. So with Trufit, outsourcing PT up until recently, and now bringing it full cycle in-house, full sale in-house, really important for us to have the right provider to aid with the tools beyond just dietary and nutritional support, but really all the components and pillars of fitness, and a way for us to develop a platform starting from scratch. So a couple things there for me: big, a base of knowledge, all the help to be able to bring them through, the relationships I can trust, and then really something that can be full scale for everybody that we can build on. So I feel like we're in the still very infancy stage of what that will look like. Very disappointing on certain fronts, but you can see it build every month. When I say disappointing, because we've just not yet unlocked the keys to each door of where it will be in the future. So been fun for sure.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Jeff, how about for yourself?
Well, and number one, Rob, can you still hear me? I want to make sure I'm not having my technical difficulties. All right. So, I mean, in some cases, I might be the wrong person to ask, strangely enough, because it's all I've really known. I mean, when I got started in this business, the company I went to work for sold Apex supplements. I think it was probably on my second or third day at work. I'm learning about who Neil Spruce is and learning about purity, potency, and delivery. And I've never worked for or been part of a company that didn't really have a strong belief in nutrition and supplementation. But if the question is, why did we decide to leave Apex and then partner with dotFIT, knowing that, Apex was really the precursor to dotFIT? Well, that answer is really simple. I mean, it's Neil Spruce. If anyone's in this business to truly help people get results, then there's no better partner to have, no better resource to have than Neil Spruce and his team. His one of his mottos is saving the world through fitness, and that's really the culture that our company has taken on. So our mantra kind of is, wherever Neil goes, so do we.
Oh, appreciate it. And you guys, I love the feedback. And even if you can, maybe looking at an angle of how it benefits your organization, from your members, your trainers, reputation, that's open too. I want you to say what you want, but just looking for other things as well, on how you might see that. But thank you so much, Jeff. How about we'll go right below you, Derek? How about for yourself? I'll kind of switch the order up as the questions go on.
You know what's weird, Rob, is our pictures don't look the same as you. So when you're talking direction, I get confused. Yeah. So I'm just gonna go.
Oh no, I'm sorry, guys. I'm seeing it this way.
So I don't know. I mean, you talked about nutrition analysis. I don't know if I'm the only one on the call that started off with nutrition analysis. I hope I'm not dating myself. Again, I started the industry when I was 10, so that's that's part of the issue. It's kind of cool when you can start that young. But I was with Gold's Gym in Hawaii, and I kind of came into an organization like Jeff, but there was nutrition analysis. But then, for me, early on, like really early, because we were looking to make this switch from nutrition analysis to Apex, and I got to meet Neil Spruce. He did this seminar with, I don't know, we had a full group fitness room, probably 100 people in there, back when you could pack it, and you didn't have to wear masks and all that kind of stuff. And it was so impressive to meet Neil. One, he'll talk about how he's twice the size back then that he is now, right? So he was a huge bodybuilder, so it looked impressive, but then his knowledge and his passion, and you could just tell the honesty with which he was talking about these things, and that was how he was getting his results, was just amazing. So we went from nutrition analysis to Apex. I was with Gold's, and then 24-hour came in and bought our clubs. I moved out to California, and we introduced Apex to 24-hour fitness. And we saw what it was able to do. The results were there. You kind of talk about, Rob, we saw results for the members. the members were getting fantastic results because now it wasn't just the 1 hour in the gym. We actually could help them with a holistic approach outside the gym. So the financial results were so great that 24-Hour Fitness actually bought the company. I mean, how much does that speak to what's happening, right? 24-Hour Fitness bought Apex because it was such a fantastic partnership and a great company. So then I left 24, went to New Evolution Ventures where we had several brands, and it was sort of at the same time this introduction of dotFIT. And so we brought that to brands who never had. This is my chance to kind of bring it to clubs that have never had it before. I brought it to Crunch. We never had it. UFC Gym was just starting. We brought it to Canada for the first time, taking it outside the US that we thought would be easy. It was not. But here's what I found was a couple of things. One, an impressive new revenue stream, right? You talk about what was in it for the club. There's a new revenue stream. We found it's typically about 10% of our PT revenue, and give or take. And we may be on the low side compared to some of you. But now we had this holistic approach. We talked about the members' results, but what we found from that was even more impressive than the dotFIT revenue was the PT revenue. Within 3 months at Crunch, who had already a long history, we grew PT by 25% per club in just 3 months of having this ability to actually deliver results for members. So that was what was really impressive, was not only did it help us with getting results for members, but it turned into fantastic financial results.
Fantastic, fantastic. How about we jump out to our beast from the East, Greg, with the Edge. And, I've watched Greg and the Edge as well, just being able to work with them for going on almost 6 years now. And forget dang COVID that throws a monkey wrench in all of our plans a little bit here, but watching their explosive growth that they've gone through too, so it really interesting story. But Greg, how about anything to add that you'd like to throw into the mix?
I think there's a combination of a lot of what everyone has mentioned, right? But probably the biggest reason is we had gone away from Apex as an organization, and it was probably about 7-8 years ago where we created a new vision statement, and part of that vision statement was to provide world-class service, right? So that we wrote it down, and once you write it down, right, what is your choice? You got to get after it, right? So we wrote it down and started looking at what we were doing, and we had, from a world-class standpoint, we had some big-time gaps in there. One of which was, we don't have that nutrition side of things down, right? So how can you consider yourself world-class as a training organization if you don't have a means, a method, and a medium to hit that, right? So that, and it led to, that world-class thing led to dotFIT. That world-class thing led to getting involved and matched up with Jeff, right? And looking at the challenges and how the heck, how do we do that? That led to Edge Strong, right? Our small group training program. And again, just writing that down was kind of the conduit to all of these things. And then having the relationship with Neil previous with Apex, having dotFIT available, to be honest, there wasn't a lot of decisions we had to make once we wrote down world class and then said, wow, we have this monster hole here. We have to fill that hole full speed ahead, right? So then there you go, right? From there, now it's a never ending fight to get better and better and better. I would say we're not world class yet, but the fact that we wrote it down is what has at least we're getting closer to it. We're not moving further away.
I love it. And you actually brought up something that I'm really excited that you guys all were like jumped in when I asked you if you would join us today. Obviously, let's not beat around the bush. The gym business, the health club business, there's a lot of competition out there. And, you are 5 of the biggest brands that are out there. But I love the camaraderie and the sharing of information and saying, this is what we do. What do you do? How can we better ourselves? I like what you do. This is how we do it. And just like you said, Greg, from I know you guys going out visiting Jeff out in the Northwest, gathering as much information about these challenges that they've been killing, and then Greg along with the Edge doing these challenges. And you guys, these are insane numbers. But I know for a fact in some of Greg's clubs pre-COVID for doing a 60-day challenge, they've had in one club anywhere upwards towards the members getting involved in that 60-day challenge, investing $25,000 to $30,000, just those people for just that time period in just their dietary support to help them with attaining their goals, which is just unbelievable, the buy-in that your members have with the trust in you, which that you all do, obviously, but just amazing. But I just love, though, again, that people are always into sharing information and how can we help you and you help us, and we're all in this together. So awesome, Greg. Josh, last but not least on this question, you've been with Neil a long time, since a little kid. I know that's not that long ago, but you know, it's kind of what you've known, especially now with you, you know, transitioning over to Texas Family Fitness a couple years ago, taking over as CEO. You know, you called me right away, which I was ecstatic for, and you know, wanted to have us along. So how about for you and the way your organization views how this can be an asset to you guys?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And Derek, I came also from nutrition analysis, so we're both dating ourselves just a little bit there. And Greg, one of the things that's been so impressive with you guys at the Edge is your ability to launch and execute a new program with that scale and ramp that quickly. It's amazing, because a lot of times it's difficult when you already have some critical mass to launch a program. And same thing with Harry at True. And man, Jeff, with the way that you guys run challenges out there, it's you learn a lot from everybody here on the call. For us, it really comes down to three things. Number one, I don't know how you deliver a fitness offering without the foundation of nutrition. I just don't know how you do it. And like Greg was talking about, being able to deliver that world-class experience, how do you deliver that when you don't have the nutrition component? It just doesn't happen. So the need to be able to deliver the right solution is critical. And secondly is making sure that you do partner with the right company, and that comes down to dotFIT. And the integrity of the product and the integrity of the ownership, the support team is really second to none. And then thirdly, and Derek mentioned this also, the ability to add that additional revenue stream and monetize it, because I don't know, if you can't monetize it, don't roll it out. So the ability to monetize it, and not just from the nutrition product revenue stream, but the way that it impacts your personal training line, from the retention of your clients, the renewal of your clients, is just second to none.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Josh, don't get too restful here, because since you were last on that one, let me give you first dibs on this question. All right. Okay. So here's my second question, you guys. Can you share with us what you found to make dotFIT successful in your organization? And I also know all 5 of you aren't satisfied with where you are today, so I know that. But what have you found? What are some of the things that you go, you know, I'm just going to tell you guys, I've got people that I speak to that sometimes ask me, what are the keys to making sure this really does well, versus other people maybe think that, you know, it's just going to go on its own. So just giving you a little bit of info for anywhere that you want to go with that. Josh, you want to kick us off with this one?
Sure. So I think it all ties into culture, and everything rolls up into that culture. But with that, starts with education. I think education with the team, both on the product itself, but more importantly, the system, which is the second component, is making sure you've got a system to drive the product into consumers' hands, and then the follow-up with that product so it continues to be purchased ongoing. And then the last one, which I think is probably the one that most people miss, is that relentless, real-time, day-to-day accountability to run the play.
Yeah, I love it. And if I can throw this out there, but all 5 of you, we corporately at dotFIT are involved as well with belly to belly. I know Neil loves that saying, but onboarding too. You know, so, you know, I get to see Josh fairly often, along with a few others as well. And, you know, like Kat Bearfield is always taking care of Jeff out there, and Derek especially for you guys. So so that's always that's a thing that we really enjoy and always welcome the invitation. So awesome, Josh. How about Greg? Since you were second to last time, let's jump up to you.
Yeah, so it starts with an unshakable, unwavering belief that we can't help people to the fullest extent without the food intake and the supplementation end of things, right? So I always say, you're going to hit me in the head with a cast iron pan. You aren't going to change my mind, man. We need that to help people move from point A to point B. So, and that starts at the highest level, right? Our founders of the company, up to our CEO, everyone involved at the highest level also has that unwavering belief that you can't do it without it, right? So that it starts there. And then we are, if nothing, a systematic company, right? So the systems are in place to deliver to execute on the thought process. So it's everyone loves to make plans, right? Because all you need is a piece of paper and a pen, and we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. But then it's the acceptance of the fact that it's hard, and every day you have to be, as Jimmy Sansone says, right? You have to be a maniac on a mission to follow through and execute on that vision. It's one thing to say, here's what we want to do. It's another thing to put the steps in place to be able to execute on that. So it starts with that belief, and then we do a decent job of the day-to-day, working the system. And I laughed when Josh said that, because run the play is something we say that's just, you got to run the play, man. You'll run the play, right? We're not a good do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want organization. We are, there's a framework, there's freedom within the framework, but there's a framework that has to be upheld, because we have some really smart folks who spent a long time, years and years and years, determining this is the best way to help people. And we're always open to new ways to help people, but there has to be a really good thought process behind that. If we're going to change what we do, if we're going to change how we execute, there has to be some real solid evidence behind why we would do that. So that are my thoughts on that.
Nice. And Greg, if I can just ask you as well, put you on the spot for a moment, nothing big, but how many days, and I know, of course, with COVID, with what I'm about to ask you, a lot of it has now turned into being a virtual experience, but how many days normally is your PT Academy for all new personal trainers?
So ordinarily it's 5 8-hour days, right? So it's a 40-hour process that has been whittled down because of this and over Zoom. And I still do them monthly, but it's like, you want to talk about frustrating. It pales in comparison. Although you have the technology and you have all this, but man, there is nothing like being face to face with a group of people and being able to share that energy, enthusiasm, and everything that goes along with it. So it's gone from a 40-hour process to there's in-club training and follow-up training, absolutely. But now we're down to 6 hours, right? 3 2-hour days via Zoom to get some of this information across. And then it's the individual clubs that have a checklist and a manual to kind of work with that. But it ain't the same. That's all there is to it.
Yep. But hey, and I know, again, the way it was for an awful long time is you were even dedicating one of the full days just to dotFIT onboarding. So my point is also, besides the dotFIT part, but you guys as an organization, and I know others as well, you guys see the light at the end of the tunnel for investing back into an onboarding process. And then we all know there's turnover. So sometimes we know that these people that are sitting in onboarding might not be with us in a few weeks, unfortunately, the nature of the beast. But you have that mentality that, hey, this is what we have to give for the kind of performance that we're looking for. So you guys so Greg, thank you on that. But before I get to you over there, Derek, I'm going to come to you next. Josh, you guys also do a PT onboarding. How many days do you guys dedicate total, not just dotFIT?
So we're currently doing 3 days, and I was going to touch on that with the onboarding component, but that is a key part of the onboarding process is bringing Rob in. We do about 3/4 of a day specifically committed to the dotFIT education and then the system behind the dotFIT platform. So yes, 3 days and almost a full day specifically dedicated to dotFIT.
Nice. And of course, Tim Keatley being a huge asset with you guys out there. And one thing too, I want to throw out there that I think is really, really cool, but we're talking to 5 people that I'm just going to say are very, very high in the organization, making business decisions, doing all the things they do, but all 5 are integrated into the onboarding and can teach every component of it. So I always think, I know for myself anyway, I would always follow somebody that leads by example. It's way easier than that person that's just up there doing some of this, but they never really, they don't walk the talk. So I do think that's really, really cool. It's just coming to mind, knowing all 5 of you. So awesome. Awesome, Josh. Derek, how about you guys? I know you guys do a lot of things. It doesn't have to just be on that, but if, again, setting the tone, what do you find that really helps for dotFIT to be successful in UFC Gym?
It's interesting as I was thinking about this question. When we first launched this, I think switching from nutrition analysis to Apex, we used to always have these discussions about what % of your results comes from nutrition. Right? There's always trying to guess, is it 70, is it 60? And where we've gotten to, it's 100%. Because if you worked out and you ate nothing afterwards, you're going to have no results, and eventually you're going to die, right? So the nutrition is really 100% of your results, and that's where we've gotten to why nutrition is such a critical piece of what we do. We share that information, and it was always interesting to try and guess what the % was, right? Coming back to why we've had it be successful is, I think it was Greg was talking about this, is the accountability that you're, or maybe it was Josh, the accountability that you have that's there, the visibility to what you've got, not just in the gym with the workout, but the visibility and accountability you can have outside of that, I think really drives more results for your members. And so from that increase in results, there's so many great things that come out of it. Some of you guys have probably heard some of this stuff before, but I think it's important to share is that when you're seeing more results, then you have members that stay longer. So what does that mean? Well, we found typically the retention of a member who's doing PT with nutrition is 2 times longer, right? So they stay twice as long. The big thing is, we're a referral-based business. Someone who's getting results and done PT and had nutrition, they're referring 8 times more people. So if you got someone that can send you a ton of referrals, that's tremendous, right? And then of course, from all of these results, and we've talked a little bit about the revenue comes from. So there's we always talk about kind of the 4 R's. Results leads to retention, leads to referral, leads to revenue from those results. And just kind of coming back real quick, you asked about our onboarding. We're doing 4 days, 6 hours a day. But before they come to onboarding, they do the online cert. So they've already done some self-study. We do about half of one of the days is around dotFIT, but there's a lot to sink in. So then about 2 weeks later, it's Kat. Sometimes Rob, if it's East Coast, you're helping us too. Either you or Kat will come in and do another live training for our organization. So we kind of break it up a little because it can be kind of overwhelming and drinking off a fire hose if you do it all at one time. But we think it's so important that we want to have that time invested in that throughout their onboarding.
Very cool. Very cool. And gentlemen as well, feel free, because I know the way some of you guys do this a little bit differently. And Harry, you specifically with something I'm thinking about too. But Jeff, we're going to jump to you next, but also maybe even how you guys incorporate it back into, like Josh was talking about, but the play, right? The system. Greg, I know very well what you guys do there, where this is the goal. So, step 1 would be this. So just trying to feed you guys some other things too, as you guys are going through some of the different things. But Jeff, how about we jump up to you guys? I know it's kind of a do or die thing with the organization, which of course we've always loved, because it's like, even from, a question I'm going to ask you guys coming up, and I'm going to throw it at you now, but even within the hiring process, you know what I mean? And I know the way you guys operate. And if somebody is, let's say, going the other direction, then maybe it's not the right place for them. So, but Jeff, please take it away.
Well, so if you're asking the question, what do we do to make dotFIT successful in our organization? Hopefully this answer doesn't disappoint people, but in my mind, it's not really so much an X's and O's thing. It doesn't boil down to a couple best practices. I mean, yeah, there are systems and plays that can be implemented that can help, but at the end of the day, and I think it was Greg that said this, or maybe Josh too, it all comes down to culture. And, one of my favorite quotes on the subject of culture is culture eats strategy for breakfast. And so in my opinion, whoever the top employee facing person in the organization is, or the top group of people that gets in front of employees, that person or that group of people has to be themselves personally, not representing the company, but personally, 100% bought into nutrition and supplementation. I mean, I've been asked so many times over the years from, other owners and operators, if, whether I'm at URSA or a convention, they say, Jeff, what can we do to better drive supplement revenues? And the first question I'll usually ask them is, I'll just say, tell me what supplements you're taking right now. And, oftentimes I'll get kind of an awkward pause. And so there you go. Like for me, if you were to see my pantry at home, it kind of looks like a dotFIT display case. If I had to guess, I'm probably taking, somewhere between 12 to maybe 13 different dotFIT supplements and meal replacements. And I sometimes think as owners and managers, we don't give our employees enough credit. And what I mean by that is they know when we're full of crap. And it's really difficult to roll out something that you expect your entire team to buy into when you're basically saying, do as I say, not as I do. So it starts with the leadership team, and once that box is checked, well, then we start looking at the underlying employees. And one of the things I would definitely recommend doing, I was actually just having this conversation with a colleague at another gym chain, and I said I'd recommend offering a really steep discount to your employees when they purchase their own supplements. Don't try to profit too much from their own purchases. We let our employees purchase dotFIT supplements for basically just a little bit above cost, because if they're not taking it, then they're not going to recommend it to others.
Very well said. Very well said. Great input, Jeff. Harry, follow that one up. Last but not least on this question.
Yeah, I think this one's easier in the way that you started it, which stated, hey, I know you guys aren't where you want to be. And so this one was probably a tougher one for me, because it says, what have you done to make dotFIT successful? And I don't think we've done that yet. I really don't. And that we didn't have fitness in the beginning of 19 at all within the brand. And then just to start with a few clubs, but it still goes back to what everyone touched on in some way, shape, or form. I'd say the only add I'd have to give to it is we are at those early infantile stages of success, but it comes with that commitment. And I think that's the difference. So challenged early on, but now to have buy-in from, the board and shareholders as it relates to committed to a results-based program that is brand defining for who we are becoming and who we are now, is the bigger difference for us of anything that I could try to say, hey, it's successful. So we're way off from being able to deliver upon, I think, what a few others are so far. Additionally, within that commitment, it is also the tip of the spear, slight bit of shift in the references to how we ensure, as many folks are started, especially those in our fitness services side, are really, it is already a requirement. It's not an optional component. And so I think that has aided our ability to get it off the ground. And I think it'll continue to get there. But it still goes back to what all these great leaders talked about. That commitment to results is where it's really going to happen. And of course, we're confident in what Derek said so well, that component of when we get our clients' results and our members' results, we believe and know wholeheartedly the referrals and retention equation. So ultimately, yes, it is to make sure we make a buck. So I know I didn't talk about it earlier, but we're confident and know without a doubt it will happen, have lived that prayer, and it's happening again here. But nothing really else to add there, Rob, unless you think anything that you see any of us doing that you'd want to grab. I love the best practice share, like you did talk about earlier, from each, get little nuggets. Hey, have you thought about it? And he always starts with a nice little question. No, haven't thought about it that way, but maybe we will. And so love that best practice share that's helping everybody become better.
Yeah. And hey, Harry, if you don't mind, again, I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but you guys do something pretty unique as well. Kind of going back to what Derek was talking about, and Josh, especially about how do you split up nutrition from everything else? But I know, you guys even, let's just say, include a dotFIT package with your small group or your online EFT model of personal training as well. And it's included, like it's built into the entire package. So I find that just awesome. If you want to expand on that for a moment, you don't have to give away, obviously, any, I don't know, any craziness.
I don't think it's a secret because you just shop a club. So I would assume that anybody could figure that one out. Not to mention, I don't know that it's that brilliant by any stretch, but it does go back to that commitment. And the commitment is helping folks get results in that full cycle. So that enrollment fee, if you will, or processing, or whatever you want to take of ways that folks charge within PT, ours is dedicated into the dotFIT segment, and you start with a starter kit. So some base nutrition needs met each time. Your active multi, some omegas, and your choice of a box of bars, but it's required. Well, I don't take supplements. I don't want to. Well, good. Give them your grandma. Or we got plenty of folks that'll eat them here. It is required, and here's a piece, and we're going to connect your results. So there is a financial commitment there because you certainly get challenged when you look at a side that says, well, let me drop all those dollars straight to the bottom line in a dollar payment down to get started, as opposed to the cost side that is already committed. So I think that piece helps us with where we're headed, but also reiterates each time we're challenged that says, cool, so if I drop that out and make it optional, am I still committed to my clients' results in achieving the success they're going to? And can I still, with that, go make more revenue for the total pie? I think that's what we're betting on. So ours is included. It's also required. It's not an option for you to drop that out of your package.
No, that's awesome. And I'll tell you guys, Harry, my hat's off to you because, like Jeff, you guys kind of started, from the ground up, and you said, this is, if you're going to be on the team, this is what you're going to be looking at doing. Greg, you've been with the Edge and the prior names so long with just from the beginning by, choosing this is what we're going to do with our culture, and Josh kind of coming into Texas Family Fitness, especially within the position you hold, having that ability to say, this is what we're going to do. And Derek, as what you've done with UFC Gym and, really from the beginning, UFC Gym being involved with dotFIT. Harry, as he was saying before, just up until recent, even taking PT in-house versus a third-party training, it's really pretty awesome to see, because with your team, with Zach and Denise and Justin, when I go out and visit, which I do on a monthly basis, even nowadays, there's not a lot of big names, because we'll see these trainers' names with tremendous numbers, but I see the culture every time. I really do. I'm not just saying that. When I go there and I do a workshop, everybody comes up to me and they start telling me all the products they take and what their clients take and how much they like it. And it's really refreshing from my position, of course, because it's like preaching to the choir, like the rest of you when we get to see you guys, but especially, Harry, with you guys taking over and then having to rebuild and take people from a position where they currently, they were working with a different organization now underneath the Trufit umbrella. It's just been a great adoption that you guys have done. So I really do give you so much credit for that, because again, it follows. And Jeff, to your point where you have to take, you have to walk the talk again. And I know all five of you do. I mean, because I see Greg all the time between, his kids, never mind his two little ones, but his, one daughter just graduating college, his son in college as well, himself. I see them pushing the sled. Derek, you'll always see him doing his stand-up paddling. I'm always jealous of that too, Derek. Back in Huntington Beach, never mind taking classes and stuff. Josh, I'll be teaching an onboarding and get a text from him on my way to the airport as he's like at 9.2% body fat right now, going, dude, I got to get to 7.5. Like, what do you think? Can I up the NO7 range? You know what I mean? So it is so great because you all do walk the talk. So I think it's absolutely awesome. So, all right, next question. Harry, I'm going to start with you because you were last on the last one, okay? And this is one I get quite often. I really do. I'm again going to be very transparent. There are organizations out there that do get involved with dotFIT, and sometimes they just can't seem to make it work. So I'm really interested to hear your guys' feedback, because this is sometimes an issue that we have to deal with. So I'm going to go a little bit on the dark side, if you will. What do you guys wind up doing if you have a team member, I'll just say it this way, that's not fully bought in, and they're not bought into, let's say, that portion of the play? And obviously answer as honestly as possible. If it's, we don't do anything, that's okay too. But Harry, how about we'll start with you?
Yeah, we just typically like folks that aren't bought into the culture and are low performers. They just get to hang out. We keep them around for a long time. So, you know, Rob, ours typically would be, of course, that answer, which this is our way. But I'll go back to what we really do, is it does start with just getting them drinking the Kool-Aid, and that's what you're a big part of. So another benefit of dotFIT is that hands-on, customized approach to come out and help just get folks believing and seeing in the dream and understanding what it's about. So it starts there. But again, I think it's just any coaching model that all would certainly be aware of. But not only do we drink the Kool-Aid and understand, have we connected and started with why? Once they understand why, making sure we coach the appropriate ways. These are what our expectations are. We demonstrate practice until we've got it down. And if you choose to not perform within that way, then there's lots of places that fitness is available. And we've happily promoted you to member. And life's good for you, but it is a requirement and a piece of where we are. Too often, for those that seem to not be participating, it's not on the individual trainer or fitness leader. It's actually on their leader who failed in those earlier steps. But it's just a commitment that says we're going to do it this way. And for those that choose not to play our way, they just don't get to play here.
I love it. I love it. And too many times, you guys, I find gym owners that I don't think they truly understand what they have and what they offer future trainers to be able to work within their organizations. Again, knowing all of your organizations and the unbelievable playgrounds that you guys provide trainers to work with clients, never mind just, you know, hundreds of opportunities on a daily basis to build their clientele. Sometimes I think they almost fall victim to thinking they have to give in, where it's kind of like, you know what, like you should be proud, you should be honored to be able to work here, you know, not just you guys, but a lot of other places I get to see. So I love that, Harry. Thank you. Jeff, how about we'll jump up to you?
So we're talking about, you know, trainers or employees that aren't completely bought in. Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I guess the first thing we would do is just, you know, see if there's any semblance of logic rattling around in their brains that we can maybe tap into. We'll pose a very simple hypothetical situation to the trainer. You know, if we were to take two adult identical twins, both 50 pounds overweight, both work out with the same trainer, they've got the same jobs, similar family lives, basically everything is identical, including the foods that they eat, but one is taking supplements and one is not. Well, okay, who's most likely going to get better results? And if you can envision yourself actually asking a trainer that question, I mean, it's obvious, right? I mean, I don't care what your belief system is. Most people are going to say it's obvious that the person that is taking nutritional supplements stands a better chance of getting results than the person that isn't, if all other things are equal. Okay, well, so if that's obvious, then don't we agree that supplements are an essential tool in the trainer toolkit? Yeah, you just kind of do some mental judo with them. But if that doesn't work, then this is really where, you know, and I think it was Greg that was talking about the fitness challenges. I know that's a big part of what they do, and it's a big part of what we do as well. The fitness challenges help out quite a bit, because with us, not only are our challenges really competitive for the participants, but they're also extremely competitive for the trainers as well. And we make a really big deal out of the trainers whose teams of clients that are getting the best results. We publicly post rankings, we create marketing materials around those trainers. We really make them feel almost like celebrities inside of the club. And, you know, any trainer that takes pride in what they do, they don't want to see their name at the bottom of that list, especially when that list is based on their ability to get clients results. And again, you know, if a trainer can't get clients results, it's kind of like a wide receiver that can't catch a football. You don't get to be a wide receiver, you don't get to be a trainer. And if we take a deeper look into why that group of people, that particular team is underperforming all the other teams in the fitness challenge. And we uncover that there really just isn't a strong, their supplements aren't a strong part of their program. Well, we have our answer. And so usually that'll either get a trainer to conform, or they just make the decision that, working for Muv Fitness isn't a good fit for them.
Awesome. Great feedback, Jeff. Great feedback. Since you guys have a lot of parallel together and there was a lot of teamwork involved with the evolution of a lot of these shorter term weight loss challenges, Greg, how about for you next? Because there's a lot of similarities there that I know Jeff said that I know you guys do as well, with the full placard of the trainer who wins as far as getting the most clients with the challenge. A lot of cool stuff like that I've seen in your clubs as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, to piggyback exactly on that, I mean, one of the things that's helped us is having a hero story, right? So if you go back to the first challenge we ran was, we were fortunate. We were selling dotFIT products before we had our challenge. And the best salesperson in dotFIT history, I would say, Mr. Brian Woodford, right? He was always selling a high level of product. And so the talk around the edge was like, yeah, but he's just a salesperson. He's just a salesperson. Then we run this challenge. And in the first challenge, he had one of his team, just missed first place by 0.00 whatever percent. But in his club, the Hamden Club.
How many people did he have on his team, Greg?
It was 30 and change. I mean, he had over 30 people on his team, right? And then in his club, he had I think it was 5 of the top 10 finishers at the top, right, was there. So the great part about that is, as Jeff said, everyone said, oh, wait a minute now, right? I just had my rear end kicked by this guy who we thought was just a salesperson. But then when it came to the results side of things, wait a minute, right? Maybe there's something here. So that feeds into exactly what Jeff said is, you're walking around thinking you're the world's greatest trainer, right? And then you look at that leaderboard and you have no one on it, or it's way at the bottom. So you're like, ooh, I got to start making some changes here, right? And then through good leadership and looking around and that positive competition end of things here where we go. So and then you look at the onboarding. One of the challenges we have, and it's not a challenge, we have some trainers who've been with us for 20 years, right? So you look at 15 to 20 years that predate. They were here before a dotFIT came in, right? So, and then you have some of these trainers who are generating before March 16th, by the way. It's not right now, but pre-March 16th, $18,000 to $20,000 in training fees each month, right? So we do, these aren't the things I always say I'm necessarily proud of. We have a minimum threshold you have to hit to qualify for your bonus, right? But the minimum is really the minimum. But the minimum tells me what you're thinking, what your belief system is, right? And I'm just fortunate because I'm involved with new employee training. So right from the interview, I know that's one of the questions too, that the fitness manager, when they're interviewing a potential trainer, we talk about this as being part of our total fitness solution, right? And then they get on board, and I'm gonna learn really quickly. If you were just fooling that person, you were just telling stories, you were just nodding your head, oh yeah. We're gonna find out really quickly what you truly believe in, because it's gonna be seen in the numbers, right? And then you look at the client delivery and the results that come with it. So it's, we have enough. The system is in place so that we're going to figure this out very quickly. So you have your post-dotFIT trainers who it's not even an issue. The pre-dotFIT trainers, it is more of an issue. But also, and I'm being honest, you have some of these trainers generating $18,000 to $20,000 a month in training sales. But everyone sees, like I said, the challenge has just changed that, because even those guys no one likes to get beat, man, right? When no one likes to come in second, third, or way below. So we make a big deal of it. I'll use an example of Victoria. That woman in this challenge, the club's goal for the month, and remember this is post March 16th, was $5,500, right? In product. She did $6,800. She beat the club, right? And when you look at Victoria, you're never going to say, she doesn't look like, she is the nicest woman and the most earnest, dedicated, caring person. You can't find a better person. But, you know, so then, you know, some of our monsters, right, start looking at that saying, what the heck? What did you do? How did you do that? So you just have that going 3 times a year, and that probably lends itself more to correction than anything else.
Awesome, Greg. Awesome. Josh, how about we jump down to you?
Yeah, sure. So you know, part of this is that, and I mentioned earlier, but the relentless protection of the culture, and you get what you allow, and what you allow you encourage. So if you allow deviation from the play, that's what you're going to continue to get. So from day one in the interview process, the question, what role do nutrition products play in your personal fitness approach? And that's asked in every interview for a PT. And if, you know, we can tell right there, okay, do they believe in supplementation or do they not? If they don't, it's not a good fit. And, you know, you give them the opportunity in the first 30, 60, 90 to ramp. And if they don't ramp, then it comes down to either coaching or accountability. It always comes down to coaching or accountability. Either they don't know how, they don't understand, so you coach them, or they choose not to do it when it comes back to accountability. So keeping the eyes open, making sure that it's visibility, so you're taking action when you see underperformance, and you relentlessly protect that culture.
Excellent, excellent. Derek, you want to take us home on this question? I've got one last question for you guys after this.
I kind of go like, you know, well, we start with sort of the carrots, right? The positive things. And I think some of you guys have talked about, I just kind of went chronologically from the interview. It is part of what we're talking about, our culture from the interview, the things that are important to us. That we have, you know, questions around nutrition and the role that they see it playing with their clients from the interview. We talked a lot about the education. We do contests, monthly contests that we're running internally, but also we're also communicating the dotFIT rewards program, making sure that people are getting excited about that as well. Annually, you know, we have our awards ceremony, which 2020 is going to be an interesting year, but normally one of the key awards that people, you know, covet is the dotFIT Coach of the Year, right? So that's also one of the things that people are going for, and that's a special uniform that they get to wear that when they get that award. So it's one more thing that we're looking from a positive standpoint. I know you guys talked about challenges. I know we're not at the level of Jeff and Greg and what they're doing, but we've got our challenges, which we do a physical fitness challenge, so one that's geared towards actually, you know, where we crown the fittest member, male and female member in the whole company, and the fittest coach in the whole company. And of course, that's got a very big nutrition component to that as well. And then we also have a shred where that's more about body comp change and so forth. And that's usually a charitable thing that we do. This year it was with Augie's Quest. We'll probably keep doing that. So those are kind of the positive things. Now, if we haven't got you fired up with that, then we're going to have some stuff on the backside, right? So the issue is, you know, and this, no, not currently doing it, but I have done it in other brands. We've had the Breakfast Club, right? Where if you're not where you need to be, we're going to come in on special Saturday morning, educational. It's invigorating, it's inspiring, and we're coming in and learning about dotFIT. And you know, hey, I'd like to think that they learned so much in this great education on Saturday morning that that's what made it happen. But the reality is they probably don't want to have their Saturday spent in the classroom learning about dotFIT more than 1 or 2 times, right? So that's one of the things. And then the other that Greg talked a little bit about is, look, there's a compensation element to this. And I think that you do have to have it. If nutrition is really part of your culture, it needs to be part of your compensation. And so it has to be an important aspect that, you know, we have commissions and bonuses that are tied to, they're always tied to minimums around PT. Well, it should be tied to also minimums around dotFIT, and that's what we have there too. So kind of that whole gamut of positive to, okay, now we're coming in and using the broom to sweep everybody in there. So that's our plan.
Awesome, great. Hey guys, I know we only have a couple minutes left. I want to respect your time, but I want to end this on a really why we do this, that type of a question. And Derek, you and Jeff, and you guys really already answered this, but I'd love to, Derek, I'll start with you just in case you want to add anything to it, and you guys did as well. But what have you found with a difference with members or clients, I should say, and or clients, that do wind up utilizing, let's say, the dotFIT program? They're more conscientious of their actual food intake. they're taking different products, whether it's just a multivitamin or maybe they're taking more things like we do. But what have you found in a difference between members that are engaged with it versus members that are not? Anything that just comes to mind?
The obvious thing is that they get much better results, but I'm going to share a personal story on this one. Okay. So my son is a tennis player and so Neil's actually been very kind. He's been a sponsored dotFIT athlete since he was 10 years old. Been really focused on pre and post workout nutrition and everything that made sense to get into him. Neil was helping make sure he got it. So Neil got a chance to meet my son for the first time 2 years ago. And I like to consider myself average height at 5'6". A lot of people won't say it's average, but average is a range. Okay, so we're just gonna say that. So Neil came in and met my son and looked down at me, looked up at my son who's 6 feet tall, and his first words to my son were, "You're welcome." I'm just gonna end with a personal story that my fitness goal is to get taller, and my son's already achieved it.
Awesome.
That's great. Thanks, Derek. Jeff, I love the story that you told between the two trainers and they're doing the same thing, but anything you want to add to that between the different member base?
Well, yeah, I mean, really the difference between members that are taking, dotFIT supplements and those that don't, I mean, the ones that do, and Derek kind of touched on this, they stay members longer and they refer more members. I mean, we look at supplementation really no different than we might look at something like resistance training. I mean, is somebody going to be able to get results if they never pick up a weight? Maybe, but probably not. And can people get results without supplements? Sure, but can they do it faster, more efficiently, incorporating supplements? Absolutely. So, running a health club starts to get a lot easier when large chunks of your member base are getting results. And, Derek talked about the 4 R's. Well, I mean, if I was to focus on the first 3, results lead to retention, lead to referrals. I mean, I'm sure most owners and managers are a lot like me in that if I have really good member retention and I have lots and lots of referrals, I'm sleeping just a little bit better at night. And I like my sleep.
Yeah. Awesome. Josh, how about for you?
I think the same thing that already has been said. First of all, getting the client on the full holistic approach to their plan drives results, it accelerates the results, and it truly puts their body in the best possible environment to see change. And as they're seeing that change, it speeds up the process. They get the results quicker. Now you've earned the right to ask for those referrals. You've earned the right to ask for that retention. So it comes down to results. You're going to see better results. Our clients have always seen better results filling in the gaps. That drives your retention. In turn, it gives you that opportunity to continue to ask for referrals. So I don't know how you ask and have earned the right if you don't help them see those results. So number one is going to be catalyst, puts their body in the best possible environment to see that change. And then number 2 is going to be the accelerator. It's going to help speed up that process. And then you can capitalize on those results that are being seen.
Great. Harry, especially with kind of a newer membership base and the whole company and everything else. How about for you guys?
I think I'll share an example as well. I think everybody has many of those, but one that stands out most recently, and perhaps Rob, you had a chance to meet Maria, fitness manager from the Rio Grande Valley, and her personal story that then really launched even further. So after she already had started with good weight loss, and then decided to embark upon a career in fitness that then connected us with her and our brand in a really small club in Harlingen. It's an older prototype. Already moved over now into a much larger club and is just a regular commercial on her feed. You take through all of the things she's committed to, but her personal results, I think, stand true, that are ones that help bring forward that emotion and passion that connects to it. That this is someone who is very bright with lots of opportunities and has chosen the path of changing lives. And dotFIT and its connection to our program and what we do is a big piece of why she's a very successful fitness leader for us today, having been no more than, but a member past and now just a part of our successful story that's starting to build.
That's awesome. And she is a rock star. She supports us 1,000%. I can't post anything on social media without her being right there. And if she gets a chance to see this, she just posted recently her doing push-ups basically now compared to a year ago. And, you know, I mean, it's just a different world with all kinds of variations and progressions. And it's just really, really cool to see. You know what I mean? I think that's always at the root of it, right? When we get to see that real life stuff, just like Greg, for you to finish this, but like with you mentioning Victoria too, you know what I mean? There's just same thing with, you know, she's always making exercise videos, always supports us 1,000% for the members, and what can she keep giving? So always cool though. But thank you, Harry, with that one. But Greg, how about if you finish everything up for us with your feedback?
Well, my mind goes 800 different places with this, right? Because there's so many facets to this. I think that from a member standpoint, I mean, even if they don't see greater results, to be honest, right? Because there's a lot of areas of non-compliance in there that members check the boxes on sometimes, right? But it's that holistic thing is a big deal, and feeling good about doing everything they can to take care of their health, right? In their kind of pursuit of optimal health is a big deal, and they feel good that they're working with someone who cares enough about them to be looking after them in all aspects of this pursuit, right? The sleep, the water, the food, the supplementation, the exercise. And then you pair that, again, it gets back to, you know, what we call that total fitness solution. People feel good about being part of something that's bigger than themselves, right? We all want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. We all want to be led by inspirational people. And when you get involved in those things and you look around and you see other people who are doing that and doing really well, and then they're supportive of each other, and you just build that team and you build that community, it just allows us to build a better team. It allows us to build a better community. And then the members feel like they're part of that, right? And they're doing that. Not only are they just exercising, but, you know, they're taking care of all those other areas. So they get better results, absolutely. But even the ones who don't get better results still feel like, hey, you know, they know why. They get it. They understand. They're working with great trainers. So it's part of that whole solution. It's part of that whole package. So and it allows us to feel good about what we do, right? It allows us to feel like we are taken care of as much as we can. The only thing we haven't done was start a shuttle service, right? Where we're going to go to people's houses, pick them up and bring them to the gym. And that's coming soon as we can figure out how to socially distance people on the bus, right? But, you know, can we check the boxes? Can we do as much as possible to help people get from point A to point B? If we feel good about it, they feel good about it. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, you guys, again, I've taken an hour. I greatly appreciate your guys' time today. Thank you so much for all what you do for us as well. I mean, you guys make dotFIT along with so many others out there, but you guys are 5 just tremendous contributors. But thank you all so much. It's been great. I've had an awesome time listening to you guys and seeing the collaboration as well. So have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk really soon. Those of you watching, I hope you enjoyed and picked up some different nuggets. I know I have, and just always hearing these 5 awesome people just share their stories, personal stories, and everything in the progression of the business itself. So guys, thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care now.